Hey everyone, Critech here, and welcome back to your weekly dosage of all things related to review and critical writing. What do you think of when you imagine a film critic? Your mind may immediately jump to those who persuade through the written word. Esteemed critics of the past or present, including Pauline Kael and Wesley Morris. Whether then or now, these critics let their voices shine through legacy print publications, including The New Yorker and The New York Times, to give insight to cinema. In the past decade or so, the idea of where you can find a review has spread or been democratized to online social platforms, such as YouTube. This has given passionate filmgoers the chance to share their voice with a worldwide audience that has the potential to earn them a following that's just as large as legacy print critics through video form. This can be seen by looking at two of the biggest YouTube film critics/reviewers, including Jeremy Jahns and Chris Stuckman. In examining their follower numbers on Twitter, Jahns and Stuckman have 154,000 and 140,000 followers respectively, and this can be compared to the 35.5 thousand followers of Richard Brody, who works for The New Yorker, and the 69.4 thousand followers of Wesley Morris, who has published pieces for The New York Times. On YouTube itself, this large follower number is also exemplified with Jahns having over 1,400,000 subscribers and Stuckman having over 1,250,000 subscribers respectively. Comparing this to the legacy publication channels themselves, The New York Times has over 1,200,000 subscribers. The New Yorker has over 150,000 subscribers, and the Washington Post has over 250,000 subscribers. But how has the democratization of criticism through YouTube given these critics' reviews an appeal that could be in some cases greater than legacy publication critics? In this week's video, I'll examine some possibilities. One of the ways that YouTube film critics/reviewers could be seen to have a greater appeal to a contemporary audience than a legacy publication critic is through a difference in review style. The critics chosen are by no means representative of all film critics/reviewers on YouTube and various legacy publications, but each are well established in their respective areas. I've decided to examine this by looking at two reviews of 2016's musical film, La La Land, from A.O. Scott, one of the chief film critics at the New York Times, and Jeremy Jahns, who, as mentioned earlier, is a reviewer on YouTube. In Scott's review, when talking about the performances, he states, "Mia and Seb are throwback, if not quite to Ginger and Fred, then surely to Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney, or Sid Charisse and Gene Kelly. But they are also citizens of the present. They are better at acting than the other stuff, able to express emotion in non-musical scenes with candor and conviction, but a little stiff-limbed and wobbly-voiced when the moment arrives for hoofing and chirping. In this, they're pretty much the opposite of those earlier performances, who were vaudevillain troopers before they were thespians." As you can see, when Scott talks about the leading performances in the film from Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, he references classic Hollywood musical partnerships such as actress and actor Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, who were big in the 1930s. In other reviews, such as for this year's Hostels and Early Man, he'll use literature to inform his reviews as well. This is a completely different style than Jahns on YouTube, who had this to say when talking about the performances in the movie.
One more talent that we can chalk up to Ryan Gosling. My god, man, slow down. There's gonna be none left for the rest of us. The dude looks like that. He plays piano. I heard he plays violin. Violin! I can play the radio, and I can do this. Take that. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling really do have great chemistry in here. They work well together, they're cute together. It's actually a very believable romance and believable relationship among a world where musicals happen.
The clip shows Jahns has a very down-to-earth and casual style. His rapid use of cuts inject his reviews with a lot of energy, and he has a well-timed sense of humor that make his reviews funny. This humor extends to his review ratings, which include a good time if you're drunk and awesome-tacular. In his reviews, Jahns mostly articulates his opinions using the content of the movie, such as the plot, direction, characters, script, and acting, rather than the history of film, like someone such as Scott. Now, you may be asking yourself,
what does this mean?
In using the examples above, one aspect of why YouTube critics/reviewers could be seen as more appealing than legacy critics is simply from an entertainment standpoint. Critics such as John's provide what could be seen as an overtly funny, straightforward, more accessible manner of criticism, compared to critics such as Scott, who use film history to give weight to his reviews. However, a perhaps more interesting point is examining the style of John's within the current U.S. status of movie theater ticket prices. In a recent report by the National Association of Theater Owners, the average ticket price for 2017 was $8.97, up from $8.65 in 2016 and $8.25 in 2015. With YouTube critics/reviewers like John's using mostly the content of the movie to construct their review of the film, more so than legacy publication critics such as Scott, the appeal of these critics/reviewers could lie in giving contemporary US audiences more of a straightforward feel of what they'll like or dislike in a film, and thus know what to spend their hard-earned money on. Another way that YouTube film critics/reviewers could be seen as having a greater appeal to contemporary audiences is due to these critics/reviewers utilizing a platform that's relevant to their social network usage. This past semester I talked with Adele Drover, an Australian-based YouTube critic who not only studied film while in university, but went to film school as a writer-director. She uses this experience to inform her reviews, which she regularly uploads on her channel Roll Credits, to a little over 12,000 subscribers. In talking about why YouTube reviews could be seen as more appealing to audiences today versus something they might see in print from legacy critics, Adele mentioned,
"There's a huge appeal for video as we move forward, and with things like Instagram video and Instagram stories and Snapchat and Facebook video, I think video is king, and it is so easily consumable, especially with younger people over print media. It's just growing exponentially."
Adele's statement echoes a recent survey by the Pew Research Center, examining how U.S. adults use social media in 2018 so far. Among young adults 18 to 24 years old, 80% use Facebook, 78% Snapchat, and 71% use Instagram. These are social media platforms in which video is a large or increasingly large aspect. What's surprising about the survey is when looking into YouTube usage involving U.S. adults aged 18 to 24 years old, which they state contains many social media elements, even if it is not considered a traditional social media platform, it is used by 94%. This high number is reflected across other adult age groups, with 88% of 25 to 29-year-olds using it, and 85% of 30 to 49-year-olds using it. With the majority of adults using YouTube in the US, it's only then natural that they would seek critics/reviewers of film in that space. As we've been able to see, the democratization of film criticism throughout YouTube has given YouTube critics/reviewers a possible greater appeal to a contemporary audience than legacy publication critics. There are several potential positive and negative aspects to this, but I ultimately believe that neither YouTube critics/reviewers or legacy publication critics will have a significant impact on one another, despite one possibly being more appealing than the other in today's culture. While YouTube reviewers such as Jeremy Johns not focusing on the history and cultural context of a film could be seen as a negative, leading a movie-going audience possibly less knowledgeable about the history of film, this focus doesn't seem to be his intention in the first place, much rather focusing on providing entertainment. And the site is balanced by YouTube film critics such as Adele, who bring a more informed manner to their reviews, much like print legacy critics. All in all, these critics can coexist and contribute to the discussion of the film landscape in their own ways that are both unique and similar.